Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Miss Michelle. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite desserts, cobbler. Cobbler is a really nice dessert because you can fill it with any type of fruit that you want. So it's a really popular summer dessert, but you can also make it in the fall and winter. So for this recipe you'll need some flour, sugar, baking powder, and milk, and then a stick of butter and some fruit to put inside. I'm going to use blackberries and pears today. Strawberries are probably the most common thing. We just did a strawberry recipe, so I'm going to do something different today. Peach cobbler is also really common. And you can also just do like a mixture of fruit, especially if you have like a lot of fruit that you need to use up. You can do like berries, plums, apricots, pears, and just like throw a whole different array of fruit in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 350. And then I'm going to melt my butter in my pan in the oven while I prepare all of my other ingredients. So another really nice thing about this recipe is that it's really easy to substitute. So if you don't eat dairy, you can use vegan butter, you can use a dairy alternative to the milk, you can do gluten-free flour, so it's very friendly for different types of diets. So I'm just gonna stick this in the oven while it preheats, and I'm gonna use a square pan. You could also make this in a cast iron pan for an extra crispy crust. Okay, so that should start heating up, and while I wait for it, I'm going to mix my batter. So I'm just going to do a cup of flour. And then I want 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And then I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then before I add my milk, I'm just going to stir this together so all my dry ingredients mix together really well. That way I can spread the baking powder throughout everything really well. That is what's going to help my crust rise. So the official name is Creeping Crust Cobbler because the crust will rise up through your fruit and get a nice golden brown on top. Okay, so once I have that mixed together, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of milk. And I'm just going to mix it all together. Okay, so as long as all my dry ingredients get wet from the milk, it's okay if it's a little bit lumpy. This doesn't look too lumpy, but it looks perfect. So it's gonna be pretty thick, but I don't have any dry spots of flour. And then I am going to prepare my fruit. So I'm just gonna rinse off my blackberries, and then I'll wash and chop up my pears. Okay, so my fruit is all ready. I decided to just use 1 pear. My pears are pretty large. So I want about 2 cups of fruit. I always use more, but this looks like more than 2 cups. I never measure it. I just eyeball it, and I usually add extra, but I think if I add that whole pear, it'll overpower the blackberries. So I'm gonna take my melted butter out of the oven. And then I'm just gonna carefully pour my batter into there, and I want to try to kind of spread it around all over the bottom. And that butter is gonna make sure nothing sticks to the pan. Ooh, I spilled a little bit, that's okay. Okay, then I'm just gonna spread my fruit over the top of my batter. I'm gonna try to spread it out. It doesn't have to be too even, but I want it a little bit even. Okay, so after I have my batter and fruit in there, I'm just gonna bake this for 30 to 45 minutes. My oven is pretty slow because I have a gas oven. It doesn't quite cook as fast, but I would check it after 30 minutes, and you want the top to start looking golden brown. So I will set my timer and come back and check this. Okay, so my cobbler has been in for about 45 minutes. Like I said, my oven takes a little bit longer, but looks like it's pretty good. It's getting all bubbly and the crust is golden brown. So I'm gonna just pull this out and let it cool down a little bit. You can eat it hot with some ice cream, or you can just have it by itself. It's also good cold, so if you want to eat some the next day. You can leave this out overnight. After about a day, I would refrigerate anything you have left, and you can either enjoy it cold or reheat it. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and happy cobbler making.